Alright, so as you can see, I'm trying to adjust the clutch on my 1980 Kawasaki KZ440 because I've replaced the clutch plates, and as you can see there's no tension or anything on the clutch cable itself after I've replaced the plates. So according to the manual, I need to have this set up where the lock nut is loose, and I've done that. One problem I'm not sure about is here, if you can see, I have the 5 to 6 millimeters of thread showing between the lock nut and the adjuster, but here you can see the cable itself comes out completely from this adjuster thing. So I don't know if I need to also, in addition to whatever else I need to do I need to clamp this onto here tighter in order to get this adjustment to work? So that's one concern I have. If you follow the cable down to the mid cable adjuster, so according to the manual at this step, it says, loosen the clutch mid cable adjuster lock nut and shorten the adjuster all the way. So I've never seen this thing working, so I don't know what it means to shorten it all the way. So I guess also in your comments, if you could just tell me what this should look like as I'm making the adjustment, that would be very helpful. This thing's been giving me some trouble too, but you can see I can loosen this nut up here, and then let me see if I can get it to do it here. Yeah, this whole casing piece here comes off of the actual cable itself. So I've just been keeping that as tight as I can get it with the lock nut put all the way to the top to keep it in place there. I'll put that back. I'm just not gonna do it right now because I'm holding the camera with the other hand. But the big issue for me has been, and what other people have been telling me online, is that with this right now I have these screws are all loosened up, but all the new clutch plates are in place, and this is right now, this is set up where I don't have the 3/8 ball bearing behind the pressure plate lifter. So one of my main issues with these diagrams in the climber manual that I have is that in this image here you can see that number 24 is the ball that I'm referring to, and when you see me take apart the pressure plate later, you'll see that I do indeed have part number 25, the pressure plate lift. So that's what it looks like behind my pressure plate. But the problem is that according to the climber manual, this is only for the 1974 to 77 and the 77 and 78 models. So, or 1974 to 78 models. So I have a 1980, so that shouldn't be what I have in my clutch according to the manual. But if you look at this image, number 14 is again that ball that we're referring to, but this is for the 1978 to 1983 models, which is the one that I have, and I don't have part number 15 in my motorcycle. And my clutch was working before. The reason I replaced the plates is because it was slipping a little bit, but it was functional. So I don't think that it's some strange repair before where they substituted a different part in there. I just don't know if the climber manual is wrong or what's going on with that. But either way, that's another thing that's kind of confusing me about this. So any thoughts on that would help too as you get to the end of this video. So I'm going to make another video to kind of show you why I did that, because when I add the ball, it doesn't work and it doesn't fit together correctly. So right now, if I tighten these bolts down all the way, the way that they're supposed to be when I go over to the other side of the bike and I try and make my adjustments on this screw here. Okay, so in here in the video, as I'm turning this screw, as you're about to see, I do realize that I haven't tightened down those bolts that are, you know, pushing down on the springs on the pressure plate. But regardless, if I do tighten them, the same result happens as you're about to see. The screw just turns indefinitely in either direction. And I know that someone pointed out in the climber manual, the directions in reference to this image tell you they're kind of vague. They just say turn the screw out until you feel resistance, and then turn it back a quarter turn. But you know, either way, if whatever out is to the counterclockwise or clockwise, it doesn't make a difference without that ball in there, even if I do tighten those bolts down. Let me just loosen this up just a little bit so we can get it to turn. Alright, so this is loose now, but you can see, you know, this will just turn. Well, now of course it won't because I'm making a video, but you know, this will turn indefinitely to the right, and then here, let me try and see how far it'll go to the left. But you know, I turn this, and yeah, it'll just go on and on forever. And you know, just to let everyone know, I have taken apart this side of the motorcycle as well and kind of checked to make sure that the clutch cable is, you know, connected everything the right way. All the parts in here are good. I've taken out the push rod, and everything is accounted for and works fine in this part of the clutch mechanism in either direction. So what people were saying is that at some point during the repair process, the ball that goes behind the pressure plate lifter came out. So I'm going to show you guys what happened. Right now you can see that, you know, here without that ball in place, you know, everything is nice and compact. There's no space here, and everything works. And then I'm going to make another video just to show you what happens when that ball is in place. Alright, hold on. Okay, so now we've got the pressure plate lifter off, and you know, what everybody was saying was that the reason why it wasn't engaging on the other side is because the steel ball that, according to the diagrams, should be there was not inside this hole. So, you know, I took this off, I checked with my magnet to see if there's anything in there, and you know, as you can see, no, there wasn't. So I got excited, I put my steel ball inside there, and the problem I ran into is that I put my pressure plate lifter back in here, and then when I go to put the pressure plate back on, the problem I ran into is this. Now there is this difference here where, you know, I've put this in as far as I can go, and you know, there's all this play here with the plates, and there's no pressure being applied to them. Either way, I figured I had to give it a shot, and what, you know, ended up happening is I would try and put the screws and the springs back in, and it was very hard for me to get this to thread. It was a lot of work, and I was really forcing it. You know, at certain times this would be kind of uneven, but I finally got them all to be an even pressure around, and this was staying flat. Well, not flat against it, but you know, at least it was an even distribution of space between these two parts here. Okay, so I realized that obviously this is wrong. This is not the way the bike's supposed to go together. But I did just want to see, you know, if there was at least just another something in that behind that pressure plate lifter pushing on the push rod, would that change the way that the screw on the left side of the motorcycle would adjust the clutch levers. So I know that this isn't the way it's supposed to go together, but it did prove to me that having something there, having that additional pressure, does affect the way that screw engages. So for those of you cringing looking at me do this, just know I took it apart shortly afterwards, but I did just want to see what would happen
with that additional pressure there.
And then when I did that, I got excited because on the other side, you know, if I had taken all that time to tighten them down again, as I turned this screw, it eventually did engage. So again, here's something I forgot to mention in the video. You know, I had tightened down those bolts on the other side with the ball in place, and it was actually, there was so much pressure, it was so tight that the screw at first would not turn at all. So complete opposite problem of what was happening before. So what I did is I kind of loosened up each bolt a little bit, bit by bit, until eventually it did get to the point where turning the screw would make the clutch lever kind of move back and forth, or I don't remember exactly what would happen, but it did something. But and sometimes there was a little bit of pressure or a little bit of tension on the lever where I would pull it with my hand, but you know, I would pull it and then, you know, as it would just become loose again. So there would be tension for one pull and then it would become loose. So just to be a little bit more descriptive as to what happened with the ball in place there. And it actually, this would move according to how much I turned the screw. So something was happening there. But as you can see, you know, with that ball in there, there's just not, the spacing doesn't work correctly. So I don't know what the problem is. If the ball's not in there, this fits right, but then the screw on the other side does nothing. The ball is in there, this is real sketchy put together, and there's enough pressure though for that screw to affect the clutch lever. So any help you guys can offer, it's been like a month now that I've been trying to get this to work. Seems like it should be a simple repair and I can't figure it out. Any help you can give is great. Thanks guys.